Let's talk to Alfie Stirling, who is Head of Economics at the New Economics Foundation. Alfie, very good evening to you. Now, this whole crisis is going to provide a real shock, not just to the whole economy, but particularly to the benefit system, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I think, if 2008 was the shock to the financial system, and it was the year in which we realised our financial system could literally collapse, and was as vulnerable as it was, I fear that 2020 will be the year in which we really realise how weak our social security system is. There are huge holes. The level of generosity across the piece is too weak. And when you have literally hundreds of thousands of people now coming to rely on it, and that's even after the job retention system that the government has announced, and people know that's coming. You have hundreds of thousands of people now coming to rely on it. We're really realising how weak it is and how ill-prepared we were for this crisis.
It's almost impossible to prepare for something like this in terms of reorganising a benefit system, but now it's happening. Is universal credit, I mean, we've talked lots of times on the programme about universal credit not being fit for purpose more generally, but what kind of strain is 500,000 new applicants going to put on the system?
I mean, I would say, though, that actually it's not, I don't think it is entirely fair to say that, you can't see these things coming and we couldn't have prepared, because the UK has a recession about, on average, once every 10 years, and we're now 12 years on from the last recession. And we also know that monetary policy, which is the usual tool we use to rebound and recover and reflect the effects of recession, is completely exhausted. Interest rates are at rock bottom, quantitative easing was almost exhausted. And that means we knew all along that a huge burden would come onto welfare, and yet we've done nothing. In fact, we've taken £34 billion out of the system since 2010. And to put that in context, the quite large package that the Chancellor announced last week, that only puts £7 billion back in. So I don't think it's entirely fair to say that, there's nothing we could have done. We have, in fact, made things worse. In terms of your question, I think it's the right one. What can we do now? I think the key thing now is to use advance payment within the universal credit system. So we should be effectively mothballing or suspending means testing and the monthly assessment period, which is the thing that's causing this huge backlog and the wait. We should now be basically paying people non-conditionally for about 3 months through the apparatus that's already put in place for advance payments. And we should be paying people enough to live on. And that means a decent proportion of the income they would have had government not told them to self-isolate and to lose their jobs.
You're right that we are overdue a recession, but this isn't a recession, is it? I mean, by any conventional means. I don't remember anybody from any think tank, let alone yours, predicting a global pandemic which would see the almost complete collapse of the British economy or the world economy within a couple of weeks. That was unforeseeable.
Absolutely. No, you're completely right. Pandemic, unforeseeable, certainly on any kind of level of precision or time frame. The shock to the NHS is one where, we are having to make bespoke vaccines, bespoke equipment. We could not prepare for that. But we do know we have recessions very regularly in the type of economy that we have. And this is a recession. Just like other ones we've seen, the shock is different, the cause is different. But the effect on the economy grinding to a halt, people unable to spend, that's what causes the recession. And we could have prepared for this a lot better. But, I mean, in some ways, I guess that it's not productive to dwell too much on the what have, could have debate. It is key now that we do the right thing. And as I say, I think that is through non-conditional, much higher payments through the advances to universal credit.
Have you done any work on predicting what the level of unemployment is going to be, maybe in April, May or June? Because if you look at the number of people that have already been laid off just in the retail and hospitality sector, I mean, we could be looking at 4, 5, 6 million, couldn't we?
It could be really high. I mean, I think, in all honesty, I think any forecast right now aren't credible. They can't be backed up, and that's because there's a huge unknown, which is, firstly, how effective the government's current announcement for the job retention scheme will be. How will firms, because now we're playing a waiting game. We're waiting for firms to trust that this system will be up and running in April and to hold on to workers until then. We don't know that behavioural effect. We also don't know what government will announce for the self-employed. We're supposed to be getting an announcement tomorrow, and I hope that that's a strong intervention as well. So both of those together, that is what will determine the unemployment rate. But I agree with you, it could be significantly high. It could be in the millions.